I opened one.
Oh, good. Oh, you got the Waterloo. All right,
Waterloo.
awesome. Okay, here we jam.
Here we jam.
Here we jam, Epiphany style.
Mm-hmm.
And we were chatting. So Jamie and I got together for lunch yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's early January. And you had some really good advice from a friend who's like a media expert.
Yes. Yeah.
Who said, limit the number of songs in your playlist to how many? Go ahead.
So she suggested 6. I think maybe she didn't suggest a number. I think maybe what she said was try to limit it so that the songs that are on the playlist are ones that you actually talk about in the podcast, and try to be a bit more detailed in that discussion.
Oh, sure, yeah, okay, yep. That and all of that makes sense, and I'm totally failing at it.
Well,
so then in that same conversation, we're having lunch and we start talking about what we should record an Epiphany episode, and we're recording it a couple days before baptism of our Lord Sunday, right? So baptism theme. So we're sitting there at the diner countertop, and I just put baptism, I think, in the word, or baptized. I think I put baptized into Apple Music, and it came up with baptized in fear.
Baptized by fear.
Baptized by fear by The Weeknd.
In fear, you're right.
Baptized in fear by The Weeknd, and neither of us knew it, and so that becomes the genesis for the playlist. Yesterday, right? And so then I was doing some other work this morning and jumped into this playlist that had one song, and I saw that Jeremy had, I think you put 4 tunes in, right? Something like that.
3 or 4, yeah.
Yeah, and then I destroyed it because now it's got 13 songs, and we are failing at the media experts' advice. And by we, I mean me. I am failing at the media experts' advice. Okay, so and so this led me to think about this whole notion of I can identify this as a theme throughout my life, right? This kind of desire to be everything to everyone, which gets me in trouble all the time, right? And I think maybe other people can identify with that too, but I know I know it's gotten me in trouble. And so I'm still but I still want all the songs. So there it is. That's where we are.
Yep.
I've already done too much talking.
No, you failed.
No. So then what led you? Okay, so I'm curious about your process to the songs that you added at this point. Were they? Yeah. What brought you to them?
Well, so I think thinking about the first Sunday in the season, I guess, this Sunday, baptism of our Lord, and I was thinking, okay, actually, when we left lunch yesterday, I was thinking Eva Cassidy wade in the water, which Joel had put in episode 1, or actually in the promo, I think.
I stole it.
So I thought maybe we could just reprise it, play it again already. But we could. But actually, I went back and I started thinking about different songs, and I was like, I want a baptism theme song in there, and I jumped on War and Treaty's first album, which I think the self-titled song from that album, or the title song from that album, talks about baptism very
and it's such a
vividly.
Good song.
Well, and then actually I was here trying to pare it down, and I thought, you know what? Actually, I don't think that's the song I want to put in, and I took it out. So you won't see it in there, but you will see a War and Treaty song in there called "Healing Tide." And I thought it made more sense to put that one in because actually that album and maybe even that song was one of the first ones of theirs that I heard at a concert a few years ago. And we went to Hinterland's concert, my wife and I I fell in love with that band. They were on stage, and you could just see the love that they have for each other, and the love that is rooted in faith. Both of them very deeply faithful musicians, and Healing Tide again speaks to baptism. Let me be the one to heal you. Don't you know that you can bring world peace? And I think again, baptism isn't baptism of our Lord's Sunday isn't just about celebrating Christ's baptism.
Right.
It's about celebrating our baptism
Right.
with Christ, right? To
Yeah.
remind ourselves that if we want to bring about world peace, we're the ones to do it. With Christ in us, the water that touched Christ is still living in us.
Yep. Yeah. And that's all right. We should probably just end the episode there. Jamie said everything that needs to be said. I love that, and I haven't heard the new song you put in. I listened to the other song from the War and Treaty that you put in, and now you've got what's the new one called?
Healing Tide.
Healing Tide. Okay, so I love that idea. And of course, you're right. It's still tied to baptism, still tied to water. So, so Healing Tide is now into this, and I haven't listened to it, so I'm really curious about where it'll take me, because it leans that idea leans into some of the songs where I went to.
Yeah.
Right. So this is interesting to kind of think about. Are we vibing, as the kids say?
Well, and I think, even going back to the conversation we were having about the weekend, I was listening to that song and enjoying, and then Joel pointed out that quite a lot of the lyrics are taken right from Paul.
Yeah, right. They reference Paul directly.
Yeah.
And that is a feast day within the season of Epiphany is Paul's conversion, right? Or the conversion of Saul. I think I can't remember now. I'll have to look into
January 25th. I think,
okay. Right.
I believe so.
See, now let's just see. That'll be one of the quiz things. Conversion of Paul is January 25th. There it is.
So also Saint Dwinwyn's Day, which is the Welsh patron saint of love. So
when is that?
January 25th as well.
Really?
Yes.
Oh well, in my little Lutheran calendar here, I don't have that. How dare we? Dang, man. So here's the interesting thing for me about Epiphany, or one of the things I was reflecting on, because it starts with the Epiphany of our Lord Day. It's one of those feast days that is always on the same date. That isn't true for the whole Christian calendar, but Epiphany, the day of Epiphany, is January 6th, which is in American recent historical things when we had this insurrection. And so for me, I've been kind of chewing on a song for a couple of years now around Epiphany, a song about Epiphany that is thinking about the claiming the historical context correctly for Epiphany of our Lord, and not this insurrection that happened here in America. That's for maybe next year's Epiphany episode, if I finally ever finish the song. But the season then goes starting always on January 6th, whatever day, but the season goes then until we get to Ash Wednesday. And there's this kind of movement through the season that has then baptism, Jesus' baptism, but then in this year, in the season where we're reading Matthew, we get the kind of really like keystone texts from the prophet Micah. We get the Sermon on the Mount from Jesus, and all of these really interesting texts, which are, I think, leading me and my listening, leading me right back into what are we doing, as a nation, as a people here in America. And my dissatisfaction, right? So we were talking about yesterday when we were at the diner. So I lived in Minneapolis for the majority of my adult life. I've lived in Minneapolis, and there was a recent shooting by an ICE agent of a citizen of Minneapolis, and it has really, it's kind of kept me in a place of kind of tension, as it rightly should, when anyone dies in that horrible way. And so I've still been thinking about that, chewing on that, and I think that is part of the songs that I'm picking. And so, and here's the thing, though, we're talking about it right now. It's got 13 songs, way too many. Sorry, Jamie's friend, who's the media expert, and I don't know which ones are going to stay. So I'm trying to pick and choose so I can be a good student right here of only talking about a couple of them, and then giving ourselves a little bit of time to really let it settle down and see what pan for the gold among the 13.
Yeah.
But there's part of me that really wants to be everything for everyone and have all of them in there. So I don't know where it's going to go. All right. So you've got the Healing Tide song.
Healing Tide. Yep. I think, like I said, baptism and award kind of talks into that. You mentioned some of the other, I guess, themes throughout Epiphany. I mean, we move into the calling of the disciples, and that. I jumped on YouTube.
Is that where you got the "I will follow"? Was the calling of the disciples? Okay.
And well, twofold. I think. I mean, Bono's talking about his mom, like the loss of his mom, and wanting to. He's dealing with the grief of that as when he was a young boy, and I think again baptism, which I think is one of the themes that runs through all of Epiphany, being a symbol of death, and this tension that he's having of wanting to be close to his mom, wanting to remain, questioning his own faith. I think perhaps in thinking about how can my mom have passed away and still believe, and then ultimately coming to the conclusion that if you walk away, I will follow. And that's the tension that I think most of us have, right?
Yeah.
Will we give up everything, or are we jumping to outside of Epiphany? Are we the folks that follow Christ until it swells to 5,000, and then when he asks us to do the extra thing, we're peace.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly right. Okay. So that I don't know if I'd heard that before about the U2 song about Bono talking about his mom and "I will follow," or he's referencing that in, but it leads me to one of the songs that I did pick, and I can't imagine it leaving the playlist, but it is, here's the connection that, right, for what you shared, that I'm like, oh yeah, now this song has to stay. And so I'm going to talk about it. It's Jake Blunt, and it's Just As Well Get Ready, You Got to Die. And have you heard the song yet?
No.
Okay. Oh man, I'm gonna pull up the lyric here, just so that we can, because it is what you were just talking about. And so here it is, and here's the second verse that really kind of like, no, this has to stay. Just as well to live in union, you got to die. Just as well to live in union, you got to die. It may be tomorrow, Lord. You can't tell the minute or the hour. Just as well to live in union.
What's the hark back to Matthew? From Advent, right? And again, Matthew's gospel, you don't know the time or the hour. And I can understand why you've got it in here. That when we're told it's called up yonder, high up on the mountain top.
Yep. Sermon on the Mount.
Yeah, which I think, to me, Sermon on the Mount bookends with Matthew 25, going much further into the time when Christ is recalling almost back to that and saying, like, when I will be on the mountaintop and I will separate the sheep and the goats. It's like it's a fore. What I feel like is happening in Sermon on the Mount is that foretelling. It's like,
yeah, it's there, right? And this song is so. It's just such a powerful tune. It's more recent, or at least it's more recent to me. 2022 is the copyright year, at least in iTunes, or in Apple Music, which doesn't always get it right. But I was thinking about that. So would you hand me those 3 books?
Yeah.
So I was sharing these with Jamie before we hit record, because there's this walk on the spiritual journey of U2, written by an Irish Presbyterian minister. And I haven't read it in a long time, but I was just curious if you had. But I'm rereading this book, Kelly Brown Douglas's Black Bodies and the Black Church, A Blues Slant. I read this in seminary, and it was just powerful. I just devoured it, and I became a lot of the quotes were coming from my papers from this book. At the time, it was hard to find. It was kind of semi out of print, so I had it on loan from another library. It might have been Howard university or Harvard Seminary Library, and I was highlighting really lightly and then typing the things after I got to the end of the chapter into a Word document because I had to get the book back. Right? It was only on loan for like 30 days or whatever. Now I have a copy for myself. I'm rereading it now. This will be, I think, the third time. And I just started rereading it. But I wanted to mention it here because of the blues that made a part in this playlist. This, Just As Well Get Ready, You Got to Die, has a blues kind of feel to it. The songs like the War and Treaty, they're definitely blues, right? There's some other songs. I'm not going to mention them here because I don't know if they're going to stay in the playlist because I'm going to try and get it down to 6 songs. But there definitely were other blues songs that made it into, and that's part of the thinking, right? Or it's just part of the emotion I think I'm feeling in this Epiphany season because of all the tension in the world. So there's that. The next one I wanted to reference, I got to these songs because of you adding U2. And we were having a conversation before we hit record about U2 kind of goes through seasons, or it has for me too, right? There's been seasons where I've really, really been into U2 and other seasons not so much, and you were mentioning the same thing. But because you had a U2 song in there, I started thinking again about Bruce Cockburn. I don't know if the Bruce Cockburn song that I have selected is going to stay, but there's a U2 connection. And so because of that, you putting that U2 song in, I then ended up adding a U2 song, which may or may not stay, and a Bruce Cockburn song, which may or may not stay. And those 2 songs went in because of the line, kicking at the darkness until it bleeds daylight. And so there's this book is another, I mean, I've been a Bruce Cockburn fan for a long time, and Kicking at the Darkness, the Bruce Cockburn and the Christian Imagination by Brian J. Welch is a really great read if you're looking for a read. So his song, that line, Kicking at the Darkness Till It Bleeds Daylight, comes in Bruce Cockburn's song, Lovers in a Dangerous Time, which is where I feel we are, right? It's going to be, regardless of whether or not they mix it in this playlist, it's in my playlist, right? Lovers in a Dangerous Time.
I think by virtue of what we're sharing right now, it's probably it's going to stay.
Well, so the quote, Bono or The Edge, whoever wrote God Part 2, they are referencing Cockburn, and they cite that line.
Okay.
You got to kick at the darkness till it bleeds daylight. And so there's that connection there.
I think that's not a tenuous link, right? To go from U2 into this, and we don't have to go with God to get there. You've got the influence. So
yeah, it is a theme of Epiphany about light. So there's these dual themes that are often in the Epiphany readings. That you got baptism, the water stuff, but the light stuff is there too, and this coming to light, kicking at the darkness till it bleeds daylight. Right? Yeah. This very visceral, physical kind of experience is part of what the Epiphany season is, and so. Those tunes kind of get locked in my head. Now, I want to mention you added a tune, Plowshare Prayer.
Spencer LaJoy.
Is this going to stay?
That's definitely staying.
Okay,
yes.
So tell me more. Spencer LaJoy.
Yes.
Who's Spencer LaJoy?
I don't.
So you don't know?
No, I do.
Okay.
So it was a seminary friend that I think shared it with me for the first time, and the first time I heard it, it just it's powerful. I think to a point where I maybe a year or 2 years ago, I was asked to put a poem or to share a poem for the opening of call to worship at our church at Spirit of Joy here in Sioux Falls, and I chose this song. I asked Pastor Eric, I was like, can we just play the video of this song? Because it's very powerful. She records it, or they record it, sorry, on top of a building, and it's. I think of Sermon on the Mount, and I think of the Beatitudes, and it opens, the line is blessed creator, but it feels like this way of being seen, which is I really think what Christ is doing in the Beatitudes, is turning the world upside down and letting the meek know that they are worthy. And Spencer LaJoy goes through this laundry list of who this prayer is for, who the song is for, and the hope is that the song acts as a plowshare of sorts to allow you to feel seen and to be reminded that you are beloved.
There was, when in the original playlist before I just gummed it up with all these other songs, that was the ending, I think, right?
Possibly.
Yeah. And of course I've gummed it up, so we'll see. But it is a beautiful ending. I then gummed it up with just as well, get ready, you gotta die.
Well, there's it can go either way, right? I think one of the reasons I really do like that Spencer LaJoy song is because when you talk about tension that you're feeling, you can hear the pain in her voice.
Yes, you can.
In that voice, you can absolutely hear it.
It's there, and musically, like sonically, I do think that there's a spirit to. Right, music is more than words. Right, we've talked a lot about the words, partially because we don't want to get in trouble by playing the music on the podcast
any more than we have done. Yeah,
but there's a spirit to those two songs sonically that feels that they're in conversation in my mind.
And I was wondering when I was going to add this one.
Yeah.
Because it's probably one of those ones that's like, this inevitably will end up on the playlist. When will it? And the more I just kept thinking about the Beatitudes and the Sermon on the Mount, and I will be preaching on that this year. And I was thinking of
where you're
at Spirit of Joy.
You're preaching at Spirit of Joy on the Sunday when that's the reading.
Yeah.
Right. Y'all should come over. So as of right now, and I don't see that this song is going to leave the playlist, which is, now that I've said the amount of songs that aren't going to leave the playlist, it's definitely over 6.
No. Well, The Weeknd. We've got The Weeknd. We've got Jake Blount.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Baptized by Lenny Kravitz. We've got Have Love. We've got Healing Tide. We've got I Will Follow. I think that's...
All right, yeah.
That's close.
It's close. All right. We might not get to the... we'll see. We'll see. Whenever this episode finally does air, that'll be the big reveal, right? How many songs did Joel finally get rid of, and Jamie will then get more comments from his friend in professional media, and be like, that guy Joel, you got to get rid of him. It's just too much. All right, okay. So the last song, I want to talk about this because of personal connection to these guys. So there's this Lutheran folk duo. As soon as I say that, I think of Flight of the Conchords, right? And the fourth most popular New Zealand folk duo, Flight of the Conchords. But George and Michael are friends, and this is their song. That's right now at the end of the playlist. And I haven't seen either of those guys in a while because life, right? Pandemic, all those things. And it's their tune, and they have played a large role in my life. They I remember listening to them. I think I saw them first at a Lutheran youth gathering in Denver, Colorado in 1989, and so I would have been a freshman in high school, right? And the small town kid goes to the big city with like 16,000 other kids, right? And has this experience in it. And I hear these two guys who I don't know, they're 10 or 15 years older than me, and they were doing this thing, just going around making music. And fast forward 4 years later, I end up working at a summer camp south of Buffalo, New York on Lake Erie. And it ends up being the camp that that George and Michael went to as kids and where they met each other because they grew up in New York, and so I ended up meeting them that summer, and I'm complete a fan of their stuff, and then fast forward a couple more years, and they're so busy that they start sharing like, we've just got 2 or 3 bookings who want us for this date. You should call that guy Joel, right? And so they start kind of allowing me to make a living at music because they're so busy, and they're sharing that, and passing that on. I know that I'm not the only one that they did that with, right? But and so as I was thinking about this Epiphany season and kind of the arc of this song, I was like, oh, what about that song? And I started listening to it, and immediately, I'm alone at my house this afternoon, kind of doing this before we come in to have this, and I like immediately just have this moment of weeping, right? Because the emotions of the stuff in Minneapolis with the shooting is just intense. It's just really on the surface for me, but they bring me back to the hope, right? And so I took all this time to find the lyrics, so let me at least read a little bit. I don't know if they'll stay in the final, but the opening of the song, right, is, Lord, before there was peace or war, you made the planet spin, you let life begin. Now that all may have enough, we lift our hearts above and pray God, let the world have love. Oh God, let the world have love.
Beautiful.
Yeah, right? And scene. Right. I gotta tell you, man, this has been such a fun journey between lunch yesterday and today. So, yeah, it's good. Got any other words to share?
I don't know. Maybe a shameless plug for the Substack, which we started as well. So
right. So
we genuinely, like we said, the hope for this is that we can get some engagement from you all. If you're listening to this and you're following along throughout the liturgical season, or you're preaching yourself, or you're just inspired by the word that your pastor or whomever you've heard, and if a song speaks to you of the season, or what you're hearing from throughout the lectionary, Substack's the way to go. Like, go on, jump on there, send us a comment. If there's something, if you listen to the playlist and you think George or Michael, drop a message. We'd love to engage.
Well, and here, this is my way to kind of cheer me on to eliminate some songs to the playlist. Isn't 13 songs when you get it. Here's I think the thing that might actually motivate me to get it down to 6 or close. And that is this: if we put fewer songs in this playlist, I think it might help people make their own, right? They don't have to feel like, oh yeah, but they already did that.
Yeah.
Like, no, I think we set off at the start, all 3 episodes ago, that one of the marks of success for this would be if other people started curating their own playlists, right? Like, what are the themes that I experience in my day or in the season, and what's the soundtrack I want to give myself to help me move through this season, whether it's a season of darkness or light, and often it's both, right? So that we can walk wet.
Yeah.
Is that what your friend said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close to it.
Right. Close to it.
That's beautiful.
Hey, thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you.
And happy Epiphany.